where shadows lie. WhisperCrypt breathes a haunting sigh. Each darkened corner a twisted fate. Narrated horror since never too late. Lost in the echoes, a chilling plea. Beware the stories that coming for you.
Episode 2. The Case of Colin Armitage. It is with a reluctance born not of fear, but of a profound disquiet, that I commit this account to paper. I am Dr. Alistair Finch, a physician of some standing in London, and I assure you, my profession has exposed me to the gamut of human suffering. Yet, what I witnessed concerning Mr. Colin Armitage, it defies rational explanation and chills me still. Mr. Armitage was, until recently, a man of considerable intellect and reputation. A retired professor of ancient languages at University College, he was known for his meticulous scholarship and, I am told, a rather eccentric, though harmless, fascination with forgotten lore. I had known him peripherally for years, a nodding acquaintance at the Athenaeum, and was summoned to his residence in Bloomsbury a fortnight ago by his housekeeper, Mrs. Gable, a woman whose face bore the permanent etching of worry. "Doctor," she'd stammered, wringing her hands, "something's wrong with the professor. Terribly wrong. He isn't himself." I dismissed her concerns initially as the anxieties of an elderly woman regarding the natural decline of her employer. Mr. Armitage was, after all, 65 years of age. But upon entering his study, a room overflowing with tomes bound in leather and smelling of dust and decay, I understood the depth of her distress. The professor was seated at his desk, but not reading. He was carving, not with a sculptor's grace, but with a frantic, almost animalistic energy. He was using a letter opener, a rather ornate silver piece, to gouge symbols into the surface of his antique mahogany desk. Not letters, mind you, but glyphs. Archaic, angular forms that prickled at the back of my mind, hinting at something old, something not meant for human eyes. He did not acknowledge my presence. His eyes, normally a bright, intelligent blue, were clouded, vacant. His breathing was ragged, punctuated by guttural sounds that resembled not speech, but the rasping of stone. "Mr. Armitage?" I ventured, placing a hand upon his shoulder. He reacted with a violence that belied his age. He threw me off with surprising strength, the letter opener clattering to the floor. He then rose, his body contorting in a manner that seemed physically impossible. His spine arched backwards, his limbs flailed, and a voice, utterly not his own, erupted from his throat. It was a voice of immense power, layered with ages of malice. A voice that seemed to vibrate the very air in the room. It spoke in a language I did not recognize, yet somehow understood. It was a litany of blasphemies, a summoning of shadows, a declaration of dominion. I confess, I was paralyzed with a fear I had not known existed. I had witnessed delirium, mania, the ravings of the dying, but this was something else entirely. This was an invasion, a corruption. Over the next few days, the transformation worsened. Mr. Armitage's physical appearance deteriorated rapidly. His skin became pallid and translucent, his eyes sunk deep into their sockets, burning with an unholy light. He refused food, refused water, and spoke only in that dreadful, alien tongue. He began to exhibit unnatural strength, tearing furniture apart with his bare hands, and leaving strange, viscous stains upon the carpets. I consulted with colleagues, of course. Dr. Cartwright, a neurologist of considerable renown, diagnosed a severe form of psychosis, attributing the symptoms to a brain tumor or advanced dementia. But even he, a man of science, admitted to being baffled by the sheer intensity of the affliction. The professor's vital signs were erratic. At times, he would appear clinically dead, only to revive with a surge of unnatural energy. I delved into Mr. Armitage's research, hoping to find some clue, some explanation for this horrifying descent. His notes were filled with references to obscure Mesopotamian deities, forgotten rituals, and a particularly disturbing text known as the Liber Malorum, a grimoire said to contain the names and seals of demonic entities. It became chillingly clear that Mr. Armitage had not merely studied these things. He had sought them out. He had been attempting to communicate, to open a door. Last night, the situation reached a terrifying crescendo. Mrs. Gable awoke to a cacophony of sounds emanating from the study, chanting, screaming, and the sickening crack of splintering wood. She found the room in a state of utter chaos. Books were strewn across the floor, candles burned low, and Mr. Armitage was standing in the center of a crudely drawn pentagram, his body writhing and convulsing. But it wasn't just his body. The air itself seemed to shimmer and distort around him. A cold, oppressive presence filled the room, and a faint, sulphurous odor hung heavy in the air. And then I saw it. A shadow. Not a shadow cast by any earthly object, but a darkness that seemed to exist independently of light. It coalesced around Mr. Armitage, taking on a vaguely humanoid form, and a voice, deeper and more terrifying than anything I had ever imagined, resonated through the house. "The gate is opening," it boomed. "The time is near." I fled, Mrs. Gable trailing behind me, both of us consumed by a terror that defies description. We are now in my residence, attempting to collect our thoughts, but I fear it is too late. I received a telegram this morning, a brief, cryptic message from a colleague at the British Museum. It read, regarding Armitage's research, "The glyphs, they're not Mesopotamian. They are far older, and they depict a key." I look out my window now at the fog-shrouded streets of London, and I cannot shake the feeling that something terrible is about to be unleashed. Something ancient, something hungry, and I fear, with a growing dread, that Mr. Colin Armitage was not a victim, but a vessel, a willing participant in a horror beyond human comprehension. And just now, a single raven has landed on my windowsill, staring at me with eyes like polished obsidian. It hasn't moved in the last 5 minutes, and I swear it is smiling.